Imagine TMZ, TikTok, and the Daily Mail had a time machine and a moral hangover. Because if history had the internet, these 5 scandalous affairs would have broken every platform, melted every comment section, and launched 1,000 conspiracy theories. From forbidden trysts in royal courts to Marxist love triangles and presidential pillow talk, these stories are messy, salacious, and gloriously unverified. Welcome to History's Hot Messes. Today we're diving into 5 messy historical affairs that would have broken the internet. No screenshots needed. Lucrezia Borgia. Lucrezia Borgia's name was basically Renaissance for don't leave your husband unattended. Born to Pope Alexander VI, yes, a literal pope with kids, and tangled in the very Italian Game of Thrones that was the Vatican, Lucrezia was married off at 13 like a pawn. Her second husband, Alfonso of Aragon, was the love story until her brother Cesare had him stabbed, twice, in the Vatican, while he was recovering from the first attempt. Rumour had it she was sleeping with Cesare, or her father, or both. One infamous tale claims she hosted decadent feasts where guests were offered poisoned wine and certain favours in equal measure, because apparently Renaissance Rome said, why not both? The truth, probably exaggerated, but the court gossip was relentless, and Lucrezia didn't exactly deny it. Her name was whispered with fear and fascination. After Alfonso's murder, Lucrezia was quietly shuffled into another marriage, this time to Alfonso d'Este in Ferrara, who accepted her like one might accept a flaming bag of gossip. But away from Rome, Lucrezia rebranded. She became a duchess, a patron of the arts, and even, brace yourself, a beloved figure. But that didn't stop letters from flying back and forth about her alleged bedroom activities, or the occasional scandal involving servants, secret pregnancies, and suspicious deaths. She was once found with a stillborn child, though her husband hadn't been around. Rumours swirled it was from a lover, or worse, a family member. Even her enemies couldn't figure out whether she was the femme fatale or the scapegoat. Lucrezia was scandal incarnate. Whether she was a mastermind or a pawn depends on who you ask. She gave drama, mystery, aesthetic, and a trail of poisoned husbands no one ever really investigated. Marie Antoinette might not have said, let them eat cake, but she definitely fed France some chaos. Her marriage to Louis XVI was awkward. He took 7 years to consummate it, which, gave the gossips plenty of time to speculate. Meanwhile, Marie turned Versailles into a bougie fever dream of fashion, gambling, and spending sprees. The French press dubbed her Madame Deficit, and they weren't just talking about the budget. The most damaging rumour? That she was having an affair with the Swedish hunk Axel von Fersen. He was tall, blonde, noble, and oh yeah, secretly smuggling Marie love letters and plotting escape plans. Eyewitnesses reported them holding hands under cloaks, sneaking off during masked balls, and writing suspiciously steamy letters like, I love you madly. Subtle girl. But Marie wasn't just fending off affair gossip. There were revolutionary-era zines that accused her of sleeping with women, priests, soldiers, and her own son. And then there was the diamond necklace affair. Marie didn't actually steal the necklace, but a scammer used her name to trick a cardinal into buying it. The scandal went viral for 1785, and despite having nothing to do with it, Marie was branded a lying, luxury-loving seductress who'd bankrupt the nation for bling. Marie wasn't just misunderstood, she was memed into a villain, and with her powdered wigs, scandalous letters, and rumoured thruples, she would have broken Instagram and the monarchy. JFK and Marilyn Monroe. John F. Kennedy was the golden boy of American politics. Handsome, Catholic, powerful. Marilyn Monroe was Hollywood's brightest star. Sultry, tragic, and eternally breathy. And somewhere in the early 60s, these two icons allegedly collided in a scandal so hot it practically burned through the White House curtains. They never confirmed it publicly, but between Marilyn's whispery happy birthday in a sheer dress and JFK's conveniently vague schedule, it didn't take a private investigator to guess. Their alleged meetings were carefully orchestrated. Hush-hush hotel rendezvous, covert backdoor visits to the White House, and a few very redacted phone logs. The gossip mills claimed Bobby Kennedy got involved, not just politically, but romantically too. Marilyn's phone was bugged, her house was watched, and toward the end of her life, she reportedly told friends she was going to go public with it all. Within weeks, she was dead of an overdose. And don't forget the Cold War tension. The president allegedly sleeping with a woman who had mob ties, Soviet suspect friends, and a tendency to say too much. That's not just scandal, That's a national security briefing. It would have sparked hearings, leak investigations, and 10 BuzzFeed top 10 things that were actually about Marilyn lists. This wasn't just a love triangle. It was America's forbidden ship. Sexy, tragic, possibly fatal. Edward VIII and Wallis Simpson. When King Edward VIII met Wallis Simpson, he was the future King of England, and she was a twice-divorced American with a razor-sharp tongue and an even sharper fashion sense. From the moment they met, the British establishment hit panic mode. Royals didn't marry divorcees, let alone ones who tossed social norms like yesterday's pearls. But Edward, he was obsessed. While Wallis's first 2 marriages crumbled, her affair with Edward flourished. Love letters from him dripped with desperation. He called her "my beloved Wallis" and begged her never to leave. Meanwhile, she called him Peter Pan. When Edward became king in 1936 and immediately tried to make Wallis his queen, the monarchy flipped. Church, parliament, and palace staff collectively lost it. Wallis wasn't just unsuitable, she was seen as dangerous. Whispers followed her about foreign friendships, strange political opinions, and a personal life that was too cosmopolitan for comfort. Edward refused to give her up, so 10 months into his reign, he abdicated, left the throne for love. Cue gasps, drama, and every "I'd never do that for a man" meme imaginable. The British press mostly tiptoed around the scandal, thanks royal censorship. But the American tabloids went off. Wallis was painted as a seductress who bewitched the king with bedroom techniques. Some even claimed she'd learned Eastern methods during her time in China. The misogyny was loud, and also the public was eating it up. Edward and Wallis became the blueprint for couples who should never have had a joint Instagram. They got the love story, but left a royal mess in their wake. Frida Kahlo and Leon Trotsky. Frida Kahlo was a walking contradiction. Fiercely independent, deeply emotional, and perpetually in pain. She married Diego Rivera, Mexico's muralist giant and habitual cheater, and matched his mess with fire of her own. So when Soviet revolutionary Leon Trotsky showed up on their doorstep in 1937, exiled and hunted by Stalin, Frida welcomed him with paint, poetry, and, allegedly, something else entirely. Trotsky, older and married, was supposed to be hiding. Instead, he was sneaking into Frida's bedroom while Diego was busy painting political icons. Letters between Frida and Trotsky hinted at flirtation, and she even gifted him a self-portrait inscribed with admiration. Diego was reportedly furious, not because of the cheating, that was mutual sport at this point, but because she did it with a man. The audacity. Frida was unbothered. She moved on, took lovers of all genders, and channeled her chaos into her art. But Trotsky, not so lucky. In 1940, a Stalinist assassin finally caught up to him and drove an ice pick through his skull. Frida was investigated, briefly detained by Mexican police for her ties to Trotsky, and when released, she returned to her paintbrushes and ex-girlfriends like nothing happened. This wasn't just an affair, it was a Marxist soap opera with body art and bloodshed. So what did we learn today? That history isn't just about battles and treaties. It's about secret letters, bedroom scandals, and hot messes with crowns. These weren't just affairs, they were PR nightmares, tabloid bait, and would-be viral tweets with fallout that echoed through centuries. If the internet had been around, these people would have been trending for all the wrong reasons, and we would have been absolutely glued to the drama. So if you liked this video, hit that like button, subscribe for more historical chaos, and drop your favourite scandal in the comments. Because if there's one thing history proves again and again, it's that messy love is timeless, but the receipts, they're forever.